Thanks for everybody for coming out to celebrate. We're going to be doing a proclamation for National Arts and Humanities Month. What I want to say is that I'm glad that we have such a good representation of the creative community here. We have Jeanette Rowlett, who is working very hard with the Kentucky Guild of Artisan Craftsmen, who will be some of the finest creative people on the planet, in my opinion. And you'll be able to see their work in about a week, a little over a week, on October 9th and 10th at the Guild Fair. We also have artisans from the Artisan Village here, people who create and make, which I admire them because I'm not a creative person. I try to be, but I really do appreciate the folks that do the work that is so beautiful and unique. Also from Berea College, one of our partners, Aaron Beal, is here. Aaron's worked very closely with the city. He's with Student Craft, so he's teaching the creative community to grow, and we appreciate you being here, Aaron. Also, people from our Tourism Commission, City Council, and of course our Tourism Department. And I don't want to forget to mention Valerie Henderson, who put all this together for us. We were very lucky to get a satellite of the Kentucky Small Business Development Center in Berea. That's something that I really wanted to do to try to help with small business. Her key is the creative community, her key, I guess, constituents, for lack of a better term. But she also helps people in any form of business, and she's been very receptive, and she's an asset to Berea. But not only am I glad to have the satellite office here, but I'm glad that it's Valerie who's doing the satellite office, because she's a very valuable member of our community and a Berea College alum. So she's back home, literally, and happy. I see pictures of her walks and how happy she is, so we're glad to have you here. A couple of things that Valerie sent me that I want to cover with you before we do the proclamation. The proclamation is a little bit more national in scope, but Valerie provided me with some statistics on the impact of the creative community just in Kentucky, which of course impacts us very heavily here since we are a creative place. Businesses within Kentucky's creative economy collectively employ 108,498 people. So almost 110,000 people working in the creative community. That represents 2.5% of Kentucky's total employment. The annual earnings, $1.9 billion just from the creative community. This includes more self-employed individuals and micro enterprises than any other economic sector compared to national data. That's significant because, as Katie has told me, that creates local wealth as well. The average wage of a creative worker is $34,299. Interesting facts. Businesses within Kentucky's tourism economy, so shifting from creative to tourism, makes up 2% of Kentucky's total economy. 67.8 million visitors spend almost $6 million, 5.5 billion with the B, 5.9 billion in Kentucky. Collectively, this supports a total of 75,655 jobs and represents 3.1% of all jobs in Kentucky. And visitors generate $625 million in state and local taxes, which is an equivalent of $360 in saving for every household in Kentucky. So the creative community and tourism does have a major impact on Kentucky's economy, but also our economy right here in Berea. And Valerie, I appreciate you sharing that with me, because those statistics are eye-openers when you start looking at the impact. Things that we often take for granted just that we're here, but the impact's even more important. So at this point, I'll go ahead and read the proclamation.
Please.
All right, and this is, again, more national in scope. And this is a proclamation. I knew there would be a bus as soon as I came by. Maybe they're stopping to shop. All right. This is a proclamation for the National Arts and Humanities Month, which is October 2021. Whereas the coronavirus has had a devastating impact on America's art sectors, with 99% of producing and presenting organizations having canceled events, and artists being among the most severely affected segment in the nation's workforce. Yet, notwithstanding this fact, the arts have helped collectively lead us through the darkest times of the pandemic, lifting our spirits, unifying communities, and jump-starting the economy. Whereas the nation's 120,000 nonprofit arts organizations, the National Endowment for the Arts, the National Endowment for the Humanities, the nation's 4,500 local arts agencies and the Arts and Humanities Councils of the 50 states and 6 U.S. jurisdictions and districts have regularly issued proclamations on an annual basis designating October as National Arts and Humanities Month. And whereas the arts and humanities embody much of the accumulated wisdom, intellect, and imagination of humankind, whereas the arts and humanities enhance and enrich the lives of every American, whereas the arts and humanities play a unique role in the lives of our families, our communities, and our country, and whereas cities and states throughout their local and state agencies representing thousands of cultural organizations have celebrated the value and importance of the culture in the lives of Americans and the health of a thriving communities during the National Arts and Humanities Month for several years, and whereas the humanities help diverse communities across the United States explore their history and culture with the support and partnership of the National Endowment for the Humanities, the 50 states and 6 territorial and district humanities councils, and local education and cultural institutions, and whereas the nation's arts and culture sector, nonprofit commercial education, is a $919.7 billion industry that supports 5.2 million jobs, which is just over 4% of the nation's economy, and boasts a $33 billion international trade surplus. And whereas the nonprofit arts industry alone generates over $166 billion in economic activity annually, spending by organizations and their audience, which supports 4.6 million jobs and generates $27.5 billion in government revenue, whereas every attendee of an arts event spends $31.47 per person per event beyond the cost of admission on items such as meals, parking, and lodging, a vital income source for local businesses. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Bruce Fraley, do hereby proclaim October as National Humanities and Art Month in Berea, Kentucky, and call upon our community members to celebrate and promote the arts and culture in our nation, and to specifically encourage the greater participation by those said community members in taking action for the arts and humanities in their towns and cities. And I have signed this with a nice seal, and very pleased to present this to Valerie on behalf of the creative community and the tourism and the creative industry here in Berea in particular. So Valerie, thank you for organizing this and for asking me to come. I've enjoyed being here. So it's nice to be in Old Town on a beautiful morning instead of sitting behind the computer.
So this really belongs to the community. It belongs to each of you, and it will be put in a frame and will be on view in the train depot during the whole month. Thanks so much for everything that each of you do to make this community so special.
All right, thank you. Appreciate y'all being here. And everybody go to the Guild Arts Fair in a week, and be sure and shop in Old Town. Get ready for Christmas. It's coming.
We will be sending them there, whether they come or not. They're going to know about you.
All right, thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.